minus 40 degrees. Your breath freezes before it hits the ground. There is no heater, no jacket from a store, no rescue team coming, just you, a fire you have to keep alive by hand, and 12 hours of darkness. This is not a survival show. This was Tuesday. 40,000 years ago, humans didn't just survive this, they thrived in it. Here's how. Around 40,000 years ago, Ice Age, Europe was brutal. This era is called the Upper Paleolithic. Glaciers covered most of the continent. Winters regularly dropped to minus 40 degrees Celsius, sometimes colder, with brutal wind chill. Summers barely warmed above freezing. There were no permanent buildings, no heated homes to retreat to, just open, exposed, frozen land. Humans here were not built like polar bears, no thick fur, no layer of blubber. Biologically, we are a tropical animal, built for heat, not ice. So how did a hairless ape end up here, thriving in the coldest place on Earth? The answer isn't biology, it's strategy. Rule number 1 of Ice Age survival: never let your bare skin touch the cold. Humans think of clothes as fashion. Ice Age humans saw clothes differently. For them, clothing was the line between life and death. Archaeologists have found bone needles, some over 40,000 years old. These weren't crude, clumsy tools. They were fine enough for tight, precise stitching. And tight stitching mattered more than you'd think. Tight-fitting clothes trap warm air against the body. Loose clothes let that warm air escape, so they tailored fitted jackets, fitted trousers, even underlayers for extra insulation, made from mammoth hide, reindeer hide, and wolf fur for the toughest layers. Every single layer had a specific job. Inner layers wickered sweat away from skin. Outer layers blocked the wind completely. Get this wrong, and sweat freezes on your skin. That alone could kill a person within an hour. So, clothing wasn't decoration, it was engineering. Fire meant far more than warmth. It meant survival on every single level. It cooked meat. Cooking made meat easier to digest. And it unlocked more usable calories. Fire also kept predators at bay in the dark. No predator wanted to cross that line of light. It dried out wet clothing fast. Wet clothing in the cold is a death sentence. Fire turned freezing nights into something survivable. But here's the hard part. No matches, no lighters. Keeping a fire alive for months straight was a battle. So they carried embers in hollowed-out logs or in certain fungus that smoulders for hours. Losing the fire wasn't just inconvenient. In deep winter, it could be a death sentence. So someone was always watching it, every single night, without exception. Out on the open tundra, there were no trees. No trees meant no wood for houses, so they built with what the land actually gave them: bone. At a site called Mezhirich in modern Ukraine, archaeologists found huts built entirely from mammoth bones. Skulls and jawbones formed the base of the wall. Tusks arched overhead like curved roof beams. Hides were stretched tightly over the bone frame, then packed with snow for extra insulation. Snow sounds like a bad idea, but packed snow is actually a great insulator. It traps still air inside its structure. Still air barely conducts heat away from the body. One single mammoth could supply enough bone for a hut. Enough to shelter an entire family through winter. These weren't caves someone stumbled into. These were engineered homes, built specifically to outlast a killing winter. In a place this cold, calories were everything. A human needs far more fuel to stay warm here, way more than in a mild climate. That meant fat, not just meat, was the real prize. Lean meat alone can actually be dangerous. It's called rabbit starvation, protein poisoning without enough fat to burn for fuel. So mammoths, reindeer, and wild horses were prime targets, hunted specifically for their fat reserves. Hunting a mammoth was never a one-person job. It took a coordinated group, sharpened spears, and enormous risk. One successful kill could feed a group for weeks. Meat, fat, bone for tools and shelter, hide for clothing, sinew for thread and bindings. Every part of the animal was used. Nothing was wasted. Because waste meant someone else might not survive to spring. Here's the part most people miss. No single survival trick saved these people. It was the group. Ice Age humans lived in small, tightly bonded bands, rarely alone for long. Body heat was shared inside the hut. Night watches were split fairly among the group. Food was divided even when it was scarce. Skills were specialized across the group. Some sewed the clothing, some hunted, some kept the fire alive, some told the stories that held everyone together. Evidence even shows care for the injured and for the elderly. People who couldn't hunt were still fed. In an environment built to kill you if you're alone, cooperation was the real technology that mattered most. Clothing kept bodies warm. Fire kept bodies alive through the night. Shelter kept the cold outside. But community kept people alive. Full stop. So next time your heater breaks and you complain about being cold, remember this. There were humans who tailored their own clothing by hand, who built houses out of mammoth bones, who kept a single fire alive through months of darkness, with nothing but bone tools, animal hide, and each other. They didn't just survive the Ice Age, they mastered it.